Right. Team, cross country countdown is officially on. We're about 24 minutes from the first horse heading out on course. Sam and Dee have got a little bromance going on. They're all together with the Echo Ratings team to bring you all of the insights. Kylie Roddy is with us as well. Kylie, I'm going to start with you first. What have you made of the last day or so of dressage?
So we've been up at Bergem and it's Olympic fever up there as well. And we've had the screen on in the stable manager's office and it's been running in between horses have been ridden and watching tests. So Laura, obviously outstanding. Michael Young, outstanding. But a few really good tests that I thought I didn't really see them being that good. And you could see how I thought Nicholas Touzant, I thought his test looked really, you can see the quality in the horse and whether that'll come into play today. That would be great. Felix Vogue was actually performed above where I thought it was going to go. And then obviously we've got Christopher Burton, Ros Cantor. I mean, all of those guys, they performed and did a really good job. So I'd say on the whole, what a great day for the sport and what a good lead up to the competition that we're about to go and watch.
It's interesting you mentioning Chris Burton there because actually we were chatting just before we went live and you said Chris Burton is your tip for gold.
Yeah.
So what does that... When we're looking at the cross country today, because that's what our focus is going to be this morning, you're obviously picking him and he's a really fast rider, perhaps would enjoy a very influential test cross country. You've had a look at the course. You've not been able to go out and walk it, but what have you made of what you've seen and what you've heard?
So I looked at the cross country app last night and I thought it was quite interesting how they bunch 4 jumping efforts per minute. And then they give you a long minute with 1 jumping effort. And then they'll bunch a load of questions together again. And I thought the only way of when you're riding that, the feel of it to the rider will be, you'll be on the motorway, you're going 70 miles an hour, your top speed or even above it. You go up the slip road and you bump up the slip roads. Do you put the brake on in time or do you end up having a bit of a misbalance? And that's where we're going to find the flybys. It'll be the rideability. Do we have the horses in tune with their riders? The fastest man in the world, I'm sure, has got that covered, bar any other slips and mishaps. But it's the ability to ride at speed and gear select from the speed once you've had to pass, because they'll be travelling quicker than their 570 when there's that many jumping efforts per minute. And I thought that's quite an interesting thing, the way the course has done that. So you've got clusters, long minute, 1 gallop, clusters, long minute, 1 gallop, 1 jump. So we'll see what that unravels.
Sam, from your perspective, the pressure of riding at a championship, you've been out first for the Irish team on many an occasion. What's your role? And actually, as a rider, 20 minutes out from the start of competition, what's going through your mind?
Role is just to clear around, Nicole. That's the job. Ride to the... we say ride to the plan, but the plan in cross country is really to have read and understood all of the layout, what the course designer is trying to achieve in certain places. There's a fence there, I think it's 21 with a pin with the drop at the back of it, where they're clearly asking you after a long gallop to balance up. Now, that's one of the new things that's come into the sport. That's how you get the coffin canter. Imagine a Formula One track where you just went really fast round in circles all the time, or, not necessarily small circles, just a big, really big, fast track. It's quite boring. You need people to slow down. You need turns. You need chicanes. You need things and test the skill, like how you're able to do that. And then your job is, as a rider, is just to react to all of those, be there in the moment and be ready to help the horse. I'm not jumping the fence. My horse is. So I've just got to be listening to him, showing him or her, the red and the white flag and doing the job. Bring back information that sometimes a turn can ride a bit different to what you thought. Sometimes terrain can ride a little bit different to what you thought. So you can bring that info back to the team. You got to be, you won't be in the comfort zone. I think the thing that every rider feels right now is we talk about in sport controlling the controllables. And in some sport, the controllables are very controllable. Okay, I talk about the 100 meters all the time. And you'll have to just, what is coming up is pushing through a pain bar. You will have to push your body to new limits. That's why they're so pumped up. but they can control an awful lot. In sports like tennis, when a ball is being hit back at you by an opponent, there's less that you can prepare for. Same in a rugby match or a football match. It's going to pan out. It's going to be dynamic. You're going to have to react. Now, we're much more like that, and we have a horse and animal involved. And so that's where nerves and anxiety can come from, is being like, God, will everything go to plan? Because no matter how experienced you are, how good, it's like, will it go to plan? But as long as you know, like that's why those thoughts are entering your head, park them. Remember your job. Just control what you can control. Be there, be in the moment. So the experienced riders will be fine. They'll have had breakfast. They'll have walked the course. They'll be talking to people. They'll know it's a big day and they'll be feeling something, but they'll be fine. The less experienced riders, like it's the first major championship for two of the American team today. They lost a little bit of ground yesterday in the first phase, but they're the two most winning most athletes in the world, Liz Halliday-Sharp and Caroline Pamucci. I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to see how they deal with that, because I think they will. I think they'll absolutely ace it, and we'll see two new championship stars of the future. So those are the kind of things I'm looking for.
Okay, let's talk numbers. On a standard day at an Olympic Games, Dee, what do we expect in terms of I'm throwing you the hospital pass. I've got it here.
He'll dig out the official numbers, but in terms of what to expect, like we will all be right now in this moment, riders included, but as fans as well, we'll be hyping this up because we're hoping for drama. The riders aren't hoping for drama, but they don't want to be complacent. So right now, everyone is probably overestimating how tough it's going to be. And I would say to you, particularly, Tryon was an odd one in how the clear jumping rate and actually the clear inside the time rate, like they were quite high, like 67%, I think was the clear jumping rate. But it just so happened that like Chris Burton had a run out. Influential people, it caught out the teams. New Zealand didn't have a good day. The US had a couple of problems. So actually important nations in the 33% of falls were actually really influential people. So Tryon felt quite influential, but the course actually wasn't a monster course. Tokyo was, of the big six nations, 18 riders, 17 went clear, and they were all pretty close to the time.
But it's interesting actually, because I was just looking at that. So the clear rate in Tokyo was 53%. I know, which is 1 in 2 jumped clear. But actually what you're saying is that actually the one that jumped clear of the 1 in 2 were basically all of the influential teams. We didn't see the team of 3 influence in Tokyo that we would have. I mean, imagine if we'd have had that in Tryon. It would have been really, really dramatic at the World Championships. So I think that's an interesting point. Tokyo actually on numbers was a hard day at the office at the Olympics, but in reality,
yeah, but you see, yeah, the numbers is the entire field, and we are talking about, like, you'll have riders here at the Olympics who aren't ranked in the top 500 riders in the world, and a few of them, So like even within this, it's not just the individuals, it's the team, even within the teams. Now there's 10 strong teams there with strong, like the Irish have a good cross country team today. The Australians lost a little bit of ground yesterday, but Shane Rose, Kevin McNabb, Chris Burton on a cross country course. I think they're ones to watch. I think when you're looking at our numbers, folks, when you're in our WhatsApp channel, which is the essential place to get into. So go and find us on our social media. We have links everywhere, but you do have to click on that link and you do have to follow. If you just search that update tab on WhatsApp, you won't find us. You will by the end of this championships, because enough of you will be in there that will be searchable. That's the WhatsApp conditions. So you can help Echo Ratings, you can help us, but you can help yourselves because there's great content in there. But when you're looking at those numbers, probably the individual that is most overlooked is Chris Burton, because Shadow Man has not been unleashed either by Christopher Burton or his previous rider, Ben Hobday, all that much. So it looks a slower horse on paper, but we know what Chris Burton can deliver. And that translates through a little bit to the Australian team as well. I think they were definitely, the Australians and the US were two teams that lost a bit of ground yesterday. New Zealand and France were the winners, really, based on what we were expecting coming in as to how they did. Between balancing out Germany and Great Britain, they kind of ended up thereabouts. Mickey and Laura both overperformed a bit. The other two lost a little bit of ground. But that's kind of the layout of the land of the big six nations. Belgium, we thought after their first rider were making a big inroads, but then they lost quite a lot of ground on their second rider. Ireland probably didn't quite have the day at the office they wanted, but they're in touch. Same with Sweden. So like, and with this 3 from 3, I think this is the Olympic Games. But I hope that my key point is if I'm talking with my head, I'm saying we've seen quite a lot of uninfluential cross country days in the sport over the recent years. Let's hope it's not one of those. My heart is saying, I think Paris, Olympic pressure, 3 from 3. I really hope this is the day when there's drama.
Dave, what do you reckon?
I'm the same. Of course, I'd love drama, but I think what Sam's touched on at the outset is, at this point, our job is to tell stories, to feel the excitement, to feel the hype. My worry, if you look into data, is I keep going back to Tryon wasn't that exciting. Tokyo wasn't that exciting across country day, even though we built that up way more because it was the first time we were going to see 3 from 3. Actually, as I got this, so it's in the form guide. It's, I don't know, page 31 of 43.
This is your new thing. You hold your thing up to the screen. You think no one can see that.
I'm not asking them. I'm suggesting it's available to everyone in the form guide. I'm not asking them to read it. I'll read it out.
Dee, how are you enjoying having Sam sat alongside you?
When you were going on.
Dee, how are you enjoying having Sam sat alongside you in championship coverage? Normally he's riding. It's a different experience.
Yeah, no, it's different. It's different. It's definitely different. No, it's great. In reality, it's great. But you know what's interesting? 53%, as you say, jump clear, and I'm hearing you both in terms of it's the whole field, and it was, in terms of influence on the leaderboard, a lot of the team riders jump clear in Tokyo. Go back to the so of course, what Denise said to me last night. I did a video on the morning. We were in an office in Carlow. We're in a hotel in Kildare today. We were in an office in Carlow on cross country morning 2016 Rio, and my iPad is full. I'd say it's still got the same videos on it because I was trying to do the launch video, and I must have recorded it's cross country day at the Olympics. I must have recorded it 1,000 times, and that was 2016 Olympics. Denise said to me last night, well, tomorrow it's cross country day at the Olympics. She said, we must be getting serious. This is our third Olympics together. And when I look back, Nicole, we go to Tokyo not being that difficult, Rio being an outlier. Actually, Rio was a 41% jumping clear rate. So that means like it was one of the tougher days that you'll see, like 4 in 10 jumping clear, getting home. And I remember the first round of riders, you remember all that excitement back in Rio, it felt different. But go one before that, London, 68%. I mean, that makes Tokyo look amazingly exciting. 68% jump clear in London. Go back one before that, 66%. That would have been Hong Kong in 2008. Yeah. Go back before that, Athens, I guess, is it 2004? Yeah. That was 73%. So, I mean, 73%, 66%, 68%. And that's 2004, 2008, 2012. Then you get the big outlier, Rio, Wild Day, and then you get Tokyo last year, or Tokyo 2021, which was 53%. Where I'm going with that is not to dampen the excitement, but what I'll be hoping for, because we all are hoping for. Yes, you don't want to see too much. You don't want to see too much wildness, or you want to see the right type of wildness. But I'm really, really hoping that what Kylie's talking about in terms of the bunched together pieces of the track, that actually it slows the rhythm enough that move from the 9:18, which was the initial time for the course, down to 9:02, which it is now. I'm hoping that that's an influence where we're actually able to say, let the time penalties build. Looking at how many people make the time, one of the other things that we saw in Tokyo was that 10% made the time, or 12%, I think it was. Go back through all the Olympics, it's 11%. It's about 1 in 10. That is where I hope you begin to see penalties build. That makes people have to push a little bit more.
That puts the pressure on, doesn't it? It means you can't take a long route. It means you can't take an extra couple of seconds to set up, and you might have a drive-by. Like, I feel like if there's a tight enough time, that just builds the pressure. If the time is really straightforward, then everybody can actually, you know, take as long as they like to set up. They can have that luxury.
Can we get into the people that we think are going to be the ones to watch?
So let's start with the 3 in the first 10 to go cross country. That are your speed indicators as such.
Where did you get this? In the WhatsApp channel? Just so we're on the same page.
I got it from the very lovely
Georgia
Patrick.
Go live. Nicole goes on some wild agenda we don't have.
Extraordinaire. So basically, if you go in, if you got it, I'm going to forward it.
He's second out. He's one to watch.
Yeah,
I'm looking
there
at
we go. Yeah, so basically the 3 in the first 10 to watch in terms of the time. Virgil, Shane Rose, second on course. HSH Blake, sixth on course. JL Dublin, Tom McEwen, third out on course. They're the first kind of ones to look at that are expected to be up there among the fastest horses in the field. Kylie, I just want to pick up on Virgil, actually, Shane Rose, because Australia are a little bit down the order after the dressage. They've got some climbing to do. Virgil is probably the most experienced horse in this field. And the feat to get back to an Olympics is nothing short of extraordinary.
Incredible. Just, you know, I think we were saying before we come on air, they don't make horses like Virgil anymore. We'd love them to, but they don't make riders like Shane Rose either. Like the pairing, the partnership of those together, they are complete and utter war horses. I mean, if you ever wanted a man to ride into war, it'd be Shane Rose. And if you ever want the horse, it'd be Virgil. So if today is their war of attrition, go get it, guys. It's all yours.
Come Diarm and Kylie over 2 Virgils. Tell them to you, good price. All of you, anyone watching.
Anyone, he's got them. They're there waiting.
Few blood ones. Oh, I called this. I knew the sport was. I knew time penalties were going to come back. Stamina. The 9 minutes is really interesting here because Nicole, you touched on the long route. It's harder in the 11.5 minute courses. While we've seen in the sport the stamina has become the issue, so they avoid the 11.5 minute courses. The 10 minute courses they're comfortable at. Yeah. That's where we saw like Bertoni was a 10-minute course, Tryon was a 10-minute course. So we've seen a good bit. I'll have a coffee too, please, pal. We know they can get that distance. So 9 minutes means we know they can get 9 minutes. We know that stamina and fatigue won't be a problem. Like so, JL Dublin, for example, think back to his Kentucky round. I think JL Dublin is definitely one of the fastest horses in the field this time. Whereas sometimes at 5-star, I would have questioned, but. They can't in 9 minutes. You can't afford to play safe. I don't think you can get. He was like a rocket going. He was like Frankel going around the first half of Kentucky.
I'm coming to the last at Kentucky.
Yeah, that's after 11.5 minutes.
That was 11 minutes in.
Yeah, this is 9 minutes. He'll catch on eventually. He'll catch on.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. No, forget that. Right, Blake. Watch Blake today. I watched Blake. Caroline Pamuchku, Caroline Martin. The artist formerly known as Caroline Martin. She was in the 4-star short at Kentucky. I watched it in Kentucky, but I didn't actually watch it live. I watched it on a big screen in an office in Kentucky. And at the same time she was on track, Liz was on track with Mixmaster C, both in the 4-star short in Kentucky. Obviously, 2 very different types of horse. At the time, they were both, I would say, still pushing to make the team. I don't think either of them would have been on the team at the time. Obviously, Liz is on the team, but with Cooley Nutcracker, not with Mixmaster C. But the visuals of watching Caroline Martin and Blake, who, in my opinion, were probably in about position number 5 to be on the team. I actually think they're probably the team leader now for the US, the way everything's unfolded. I think they're the kind of team captain. But it was nippy. It was controlled. It was. It's Black Horse, isn't it?
He's very tall, dark, and handsome as Blake. It was very rideable.
I don't see it, but it was visual. I don't see the beauty that you guys see when you think, oh, cute horse and that kind of stuff. But I looked at this horse and I was like, that is visually special. It looked amazing and it moved amazing. And I think 6th on course today. I think it'll be fast. I think it'll be a big climber. I put her on the podium at the start of the weekend, and I'm 30. It's a little bit higher than I would have liked to see, but I still think they're in very good place for a top 5 Olympic finish, and I think it'll be built around a fast round today.
Right, you're bigging them up. Go on, Nicole. Go on.
No, go for it. Go on, Sam.
Well, he's bigging up Blake. Are you on the fence on Dublin? I'm going to make a wild call.
I don't want to say. I mean, it's not right to say that what I believe will and won't happen in terms of putting someone down. But I think Dublin is under the most pressure of the Brits. I think they're 7 from 10 in their jumping in their last 10. I think they've had big days where it's gone well. They've had big days when it hasn't. I think if I was picking that team, and I picked it 1,000 times, the British team in my head, Dublin is the one that I think is under the most pressure from Banzai de Loire, from Vendredi Biats. I realise that it's a difficult thing for me to say, but yeah, I think Dublin is the most under pressure.
I think he's going to deliver. I get your point. Everything you said is valid. I think he'll get it. If I have an inkling and you want to start making calls, which I hate doing, by the way, because it's all about cold object. They all have a chance. It's just where that chance is. Normally objective and cold, but come on, it's the Olympics. Let's have an opinion. I think Dublin will deliver, but for me, I think Germany first out on course. I think that could be a problem early. I don't want to say it. She's the Olympic champ. I love her. She's brilliant.
My heart breaks for Julia. My heart breaks for Julia.
I know it's just the experience, guys. I think there's a it comes into play. Things happen at championships, and
coming off the back of Aachen.
Dublin has. We will tend to take the horses that have so Dublin has loads of experience, and yes, there's been a couple of issues in there with the likes of Aachen and with the likes of the Europeans, and we'll hold that against them. But they grow and they learn from the experience, whereas the horse that has the less experience, but a good record. But then Buccalo, that was the water, but. That's my call.
To be fair, his Buccalo fall was very much like one that happened to other people. He didn't really deserve to fall. It was unlucky. Right, we've got 3 minutes, and quite frankly, nobody's going to stay and listen to us when the first horse leaves the start box. So, a couple of others to look out for in terms of speed. Triton Fontaine for Karam Leguag, first of the French to go. London 52, Laura Collett, Menlo Park, Clark Johnstone. Huge opportunity for the New Zealand team here. Colorado Blue, Austin O'Connor. He'll be one hoping that it is an absolute war of attrition and that the time is unbelievably tough. Lordship Scrafalo, actually one of the last to go as well. Kylie, you picked up just very quickly one thing on Lordship Scrafalo. You spoke to Caroline Moore. He's fast.
Yeah, I think there was some registered speeds at Pretoni where he went 823 meters per minute at traveling speed between some of his jumping efforts. So I think when we're talking about being able to go to beyond top speed and being able to have the rideability when you've got to come back and do these clusters of fences, you'd have to say that's quite a good marker. And it's something that the horse has done before and probably a massive indicator as to why he's already won so much of what he's won. So no pressure at all on Ros, but that's quite a good stat.
I love that. Right. Final question I'm going to ask you, or we're going to leave you with this. Who leads at the end of the day, team and individual? Sam? Julia's at the start box. Come on, under pressure.
Oh, Brits lead. Laura DeVillet delivers. Laura will deliver as well. It's a British day today, I think.
D?
Felix.
The look of panic on your face.
I mean, I think Laura leads. I think Laura wins, but how many times I need to tell you something different. I think Felix Vogue is the rider to watch. One of the fastest, one of the best jumpers in the field. I think he'll be right there, knocking on the door by the end of the evening.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Laura lead, Berto second, Rosa third, Brits team gold going, and then probably France then Ireland team.
Oh. Okay, influential day at the office.
Are we coming back on the call
I'd have a bit of money there on Kylie's call. I'd like that. I think you've talked a lot of sense. I'm jumping on your
Michael Young for me. I went big on the umbrellas, giving London problems yesterday, and it played out beautifully for me. So I'm going to say that he's going to have a few time penalties. That's going to mean it's going to go
covered
like a
all
rocket.
bases again.
Yeah. But the Brits stay in pole position. Right. Guys, we'll check in. We're going to come back halfway through the day, I think, and we'll do a bit of an update, maybe after the first rotation. Enjoy, everybody.
Right. She's off. She's gone. Julia Krevsky's on course. Let's go.
Go.